Everybody knows who I am. Hi, everybody.
How's everybody
And
doing?
yeah, and welcome to is this the fourth webinar in a
Think
series?
so.
Film scoring webinar. Yes, it's the fourth one, and it's called Getting It Together with a Real Live Kicking Presence. The last time we spoke about how important it was to have a virtual presence, and this time around I'm going to be talking about how you need to present yourself in real life. And this is going to be a general overview. It's actually quite detailed, but it'll be a general overview about for people not just who are not just away from LA, but people who are also in LA. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Steve Blumenthal, who is just steadfastly standing by, keeping me company. How are you, Steve?
Yes, doing very well. Nice Friday afternoon, just hanging out, you know?
Yeah. It's a Friday afternoon here, too. 3 hours difference between New York and LA.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and I do believe it's nighttime in Europe and other time frames in other places. So anyway, I wanted to thank everybody for being here. Please ask as many questions as you want. Steve over there is going to be reading your questions in the comment section on YouTube. So just right away, and he will make note of it. You are welcome to interrupt me anytime. This is going to be quite an involved and long overview of how you need to appear, behave, and all of that. And the next webinar, we will be talking about how you need to be on the inside. So, yeah. So, thank you for your support. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want, YouTube channel. And if you like this video, please like it. And if you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And I also have a crazy, silly Facebook page, which is like the booby prize mascot of my virtual presence. And I also have a Facebook group called For Film Composers Only, which is quite active and a lot of fun, and I tend to pose a question every day, and you are welcome to join me there as well. So I wanted to mention it would behoove you to if you can stand me for that long, to actually view the 3 other webinars. This one, even though it's a little confusing, but this one, even though it's the 4th, it's the 2nd in a series. So, because the first one was reviewing about your virtual world, this one's about the real tangible world, and the 3rd one will be about your spiritual, your internal world, and what you need to do in order to succeed as a film composer. How am I doing, Steve?
Doing great, as always.
Yes, we'll see how long this one goes. You never know. You know, sometimes I think a lecture will last, 2 hours, and it's just like gone in 45 minutes. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's amazing how that happens.
and other times I think, oh, it's just a half an hour, and I'm still talking 90 minutes later. So
yeah.
Hard to know. Yeah. I was gonna say, Steve, just do this or do but chances are. Looking at you, just make noise. That'll do it, because then the camera will toggle.
Exactly.
As Google Plus Hangouts on.
Any questions, and I'll make sure just to ask right away then. You said?
Yeah. We'll see how it goes, because my notes, in all honesty, right now are a little bit chaotic, but they are thorough. And so, if you want to just throw a question, say anything, just go. All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I want to begin by saying what I always say, which is that the most important thing as a film composer in the business, in order to succeed in the business, you have to do the #1 rule in business, which is that you have to build trust. And no one is obligated to trust you. So it really is up to you to make it so that you appear to be trustworthy. And the easiest way for you to be trustworthy is for you to truly become trustworthy. That way it's a lot easier. You live a better life. Everything is just much more genuine. So even though I'm going into detail about how you need to be, rather than think about strategizing in sneaky ways, just try to change yourself from the inside out and just be who you are and just be a good person, and you should be. All right. So public relations, PR is everything. Social media is everything. But then at some point, you're going to actually be meeting people in person. And some people are introverts and some people are extroverts. But this is kind of the lowdown of how you need to be, just in case you might be missing a thing or two. If you are not located in Los Angeles, please beware that any kind of reaching out that you will be doing to potential clients will be all the more difficult, simply because the people who you will be dealing with are not creatively oriented. They're more part of a corporate world. They're super professional, very dry, and it means that you need to be extra careful about how you appear to be. So, all right. Yes. Everything okay? Yes?
I think my end is getting a little bit fuzzy.
Oh, I'm fussy to you?
I think I'm still on, though. I think I'm still up.
That's fine. Ask me if I care. I'll still be talking away. Okay. So there are a few things, just an overview of this. I want to talk about your appearance, about your manners, about how you speak, promptness, and then on another level entirely about a little bit about business cards, and then about hosting things, so your studio, your home, going to parties, that sort of a thing. So, and I've kind of divided things into deal breakers versus eyebrow raisers. So it's like if you do something like if you're a woman and you have lipstick on your teeth, that's not a deal breaker, but it's an eyebrow raiser. And it's sort of like, I don't know, if you have a bunch of eyebrow raisers, then that's probably going to be a deal breaker in the long run. Anyway, I'm going to get down to the nitty-gritty because someone's got to tell you. So, and I have to also preface this by saying that somehow there's something about this that I'm doing that is deeply disturbing. But like I said, I feel like someone has to tell you. You like that? You like that, right?
I think the fact that it's deeply disturbing, but let's just start right into it. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
That's it. It's deeply disturbing. But someone has to tell
let's
you.
do it, though, yeah.
So, and so most of this is like stuff your mom would say. Let me get rid of this thing, this thing here. Yeah, okay, now we're good. So there's some things that are more important than others. For example, look people in the eye and smile. And you can get away with a lot that way if you just look at people in the eye and you smile. And if you're relaxed, not quite like I am, but if you're relaxed and you're put together, then you're probably good to go. What was it that you had said, Steve, earlier before we got online here on air? Something about you look as long as you do your best looking your best. What was it? You try your best.
Yeah. If you're trying your best to look your very best, however you do it that way. Don't try to be someone else. Be yourself, but just look like the best version of you.
See, now we can just go home. Okay? Yeah. Because really the truth is that, being too perfect looks weird too. Like there's something wrong with that. And
you gotta be human and approachable, but
yeah.
Approachable is the key word, I think.
Yes, and also it's kind of good to be creative because you are an artist after all, right? So, but you can be creative in interesting ways without making people feel like, okay, yeah, that's that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's ways to be creative and attract people, and there's ways to be creative and just really weird them out and turn them off.
That's right. And a lot of times people try to be weird and creative because they want to shock people. Well, when you're doing business with people, when you're trying to create some kind of an alliance where there's going to be exchange of money, where you're going to be making a living doing this, then, you know, that sort of behavior works against you. Yeah. You have to just be approachable. So there are two individuals that I'm thinking of that everybody knows who is a great rule of thumb for you to follow, and even if you're a woman, I think this is very helpful. The two individuals I think of all the time is Steven Spielberg, the director, and Tom Hanks, the actor, and they both happen to be friends. And if you see them speaking, you can catch them on YouTube in interviews and stuff. The way that they conduct themselves is kind of a good touchstone for you to. They're not entirely uptight at all, but they were very straightforward, and they can be serious without being sad and weird. So these are things to think about.
Very, very sincere about it. I think attitude is important too, which you may be getting to later, Deniz. I'm not sure, but I noticed, like, I remember I watched like, if anything's irking you in a conversation, it's better to be smooth about it, smooth over it, as opposed to calling someone out on something. I remember.
Yeah, no.
There was one time I watched a speech by Barack Obama. He was just talking about something, and someone was protesting, yelling like in the audience, heckling, and trying to give him a hard time.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I think one of us showed it to the other, but I remember I was really blown away because he was just like complete, like so smooth about it, just kind of okay. Well, let's see what they have to say, and he heard them out completely, and then security took him away, but he was kind of like, okay. All right. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about before. He was completely cool about it.
I'm gonna find that link, and I'm gonna include it in the comments or in the description down below, so people can see that, because that was an amazing thing. That was an amazing.
Like, it felt like it was part of the act. You know, like he made it feel like that almost.
He was totally prepared. He was totally prepared, and it's good for us to be. I mean, I always talk about composers needing to feel empowered and approach with a sense of respect towards themselves so that they command respect when they enter a room and all that. But when you're talking about meeting people for the first time, it's very important to win them over. If you happen to know the person already, then things are kind of different. But if you don't know them and their cultural differences and the meeting isn't exactly taking place in Hollywood and they're people who are, you know, located, let's say, in Chicago, then all of these things that I'm talking about become super duper important in an annoying way. But like I said, I feel like somebody has to tell you. So, all right. So let's just get down to business here. It's a little bit chaotic. I apologize, but I'm just gonna spill the beans. I hope you guys are taking notes. So here we go. We first start with appearances, and this is not about getting you to conform. Once again, this is about you building trust. You building trust with people that you want to be able to do business with. So your appearance and how you dress. So, and all of that. So the first thing I always talk about is a haircut. You want to spend a little bit, especially if you're a guy. Most guys will spend $5, $10 on a haircut.
Or cut their own hair.
Or cut their own hair, or have their girlfriends cut their hair, or whatever it is, or whatever. But just give it a go. Just invest in, let's say, a $40 or a $50 haircut, because the way it happens in Los Angeles is that they spend a lot of money on a haircut, and then they never keep it tidy. That's the key. So it's always messy, but the cut is really good. And people, that's the look. That's the LA look. The other thing is you want your watch to be expensive if you can afford it. If you can't, don't worry about it. The other one is shoes. I'm always horrible with that. But make it so that your shoes are really kind of cool. They don't have to be super shiny or anything like that, but if they're
expensive, but interesting.
If they're good shoes, then that makes a difference. Now, this doesn't have to do with dress, but if you're in LA, your car is important. So these are interesting things about Los Angeles. I always say if you're a composer and you're at a session, it's a good idea for you to wear a jacket over your jeans, especially if it's the first time that you're doing an orchestral session. You understand what I'm saying? If you are, and of course I can hear everybody going, yes, no, but you understand, how are you? But it's not rhetorical. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that if you are an established composer and you're comfortable in your own surroundings, then that's perfectly fine, and you don't have to think so much about appearances. But if this is a big session for you, you really haven't worked with an orchestra before, you haven't worked with a particular director before, it's important for you to have a jacket that might look good over jeans, whether it's blue jeans or black jeans. You don't want to wear a suit because that's too much, and that's actually much worse. But it's,
your way overdressed is like, what's this guy's deal, kind of.
It's awful.
It always reminds me of that one scene in the movie Step Brothers where they wear tuxedos to a job interview at like a sporting goods store. You know, like.
I'm making a note of this. Maybe we can find that.
Oh yeah.
Link on YouTube and include.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
right?
It's hilarious, but like, I mean, you know, like they wear like tuxedos to a job interview where they're gonna be cleaning toilets, like.
Yeah. So
obviously,
you don't want to look too hungry. Mind you, women have it really tough. And this is one of those unfair things. If a woman dresses casually, they don't think that they've actually proven this. They don't think that she's as smart as she is. She dresses formally, she looks like a dweeb. So it's very difficult to get a balance, and it requires some effort to strike that important balance. But to do it without that, maybe it's all right. I don't know. I don't mean to be so dogmatic about this stuff, but I think it's important to at least discuss it, or at least speak.
Or just get it out there, at least. Just have it as an open forum.
Yeah, just think about it. Well, anyway, a nice colorful jacket over jeans is a really good look because it's fun and it's casual, but when you also have like something like a jacket like that, it makes you feel like you have some kind of armor. And if you're in a ooh, sirens. If you're in an orchestral setting and it's, like I said, your first gig, you want to feel like you're ready to fight. Yes. So.
And also makes you look more. Makes you look more in charge too. It's more like, oh well, he's got a jacket on. Maybe he knows what's going on. You know, I mean, like, or she. You know, maybe you hear like. Yeah. They're wearing a jacket with us. Maybe they're more put together. Maybe they're someone in charge.
I mean, it's all subliminal. You know. If you notice, a lot of conductors will wear either Chinese jackets or they'll wear turtlenecks. Like John Williams loves to wear a turtleneck while he conducts. That's the same thing. It's something that protects you. You know, because you need to walk around like you have some sense of being protected. You know, just don't be yourself and, I'm a composer, but you have some kind of sense of, yes, there's a decorum here, and, it's kind of like when we were kids in grade school and the school teacher, if you ever saw the school teacher outside of school, it was like a real shocker. I don't know. It's
crazy. And like they're not wearing a shirt, like they're in like jeans and a t-shirt or something, blew my mind first time I saw that. Blew my mind.
So it's something that's exactly like that. You kind of want to put your professional garb on or something.
Yeah.
All right. Hats. Hats. I know you sometimes wear hats. I'm just saying this, putting it out there. Some older folks.
Yeah.
If you happen to be dealing with somebody who's in their 60s, sorry for those who are in their 60s. I don't mean to say you guys are all, but you're of another generation. It's another culture, and there is this maxim about how, for some men, if you have your hat indoors, that's rude. And then there are young people who think that that's very stylish. So I'm just saying, be aware. And
definitely.
There is something to be said about, like, if someone's going to be offended by a hat indoors, then maybe you shouldn't work with it, So there's... Okay, so it's good to have some humor in your clothes. I've noticed that in recording sessions, people will put on, like, a fun... men, I'm talking about, will wear a fun brooch or a pin, or have, like, a swanky ring, or maybe even wear bright-colored socks. with a fun pattern in them. You know, just a shot of some fun. It goes a long way.
The bright colored socks thing. Almost every like major musician or anything like that I've met, they've always worn some kind of ridiculous looking sock. I remember I met Elvis Costello a couple years ago, and like I remember like we were talking for a second, and he sat down, I sat down, and then I like caught a glimpse, like I like dropped something, so I looked down, and like guy had these like neon pink socks on with like black suit, you know, very formal, like, you know, black, like white shirt, black tie. Sits down, pulls his trousers up, and he's got like a pair of like neon socks on. And it's just, I mean, like everybody. I mean, I've seen pictures of like Hans Zimmer where he's like walking. You can see like these like ridiculous socks he has underneath, or you know, anybody really.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. That, I mean, that's cool. That's all right. It's not like on your face. It's not. I mean, and I'm talking once again not so much about the LA scene, but you know, if you're somewhere in Montana, let's say, you know, wearing those socks could be a stretch for people, but it's fun too, and it's okay, and they can ignore it if they choose. But yeah. But if you've got like piercings up your ear, I don't know. It's like it's a question mark. Anyway.
I think it's also like a matter of being yourself too. Like some people can really pull off the pierced ear thing.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people, and that's cool. Like I get that.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I want to talk about is glasses. If you have to wear glasses and you can't afford the surgery, because people in LA, you know, they go for the LASIK as much as they can, but the surgery. But if you can't, then you know, make your glasses fun. That's all right. You know, that's a lot of fun. If you're older like me and you have to wear bifocals, right? And you're talking to somebody, you know, take them off. You know, I've seen people do this, like, you know, the sunglasses up there. I don't know. But then again, look, you do what you want to do. Make sure. I love this. I'm reading my notes here. It's like, make sure your nails are clean, and then the next one after that. This is not a good combination.
Clipped.
Don't eat garlic. I think, you know, just any kind of fodder for people, you know, just try to stay clear. Don't have dog or cat fur on you if you can help it. Comb your hair. You know, if you're a guy, like experiment with gel. You know, it's all this stuff. I'm not gonna get into it too much, but just use your common sense. Long hair is perfectly fine. Just keep it, you know, looking all right. That's all.
Regardless of what you do, try to look good. That's all you gotta do. I mean, like, just make sure, be yourself, but be the best version of yourself. You know, like, okay, I'm meeting like someone really important today. I want to look as good as I possibly can. Things like that.
That's it. You know? I mean, I can imagine some younger people, especially, saying, you know, oh, this is all what a pain, right? And I'm thinking, this is so easy. You can actually win people over if you just think a little bit about this stuff. That's why I'm telling it to you. It's not because, oh, you should. It's really about, it makes a difference. It will make the difference if you...
And
go
all
on.
these little things, they can all start interesting conversations. I mean, I've had many conversations revolving around my socks, because I have some very stupid-looking pairs of socks. So, like, I have like this one green, it's a green pair of socks with like these little penguins printed on it. And I mean, like, that's started legit conversations, and I've actually gotten some good connections. I mean, I have a trumpet player now who's like my go-to trumpet player, because we talked about my socks one time, and we made a joke. It was funny. We made a joke about it, and then like he's the guy I call now whenever I need a trumpet for something. Like, you get all kinds of stuff like that just through these random, like you're trying to maximize your opportunities to start these silly little conversations that can lead to a more real thing. But these extra musical conversations like that can be really, you know, it can really help.
Absolutely. You know, any way you can meet people, all these things matter. And it's also kind of fun. Like you want to put a stamp of your own self and your identity onto your appearance. Well, do it in a measured way and do it in a purposeful way. And I remember this one brooch, you know, it was a really cool, interesting thing. It wasn't small, and it was on the guy's jacket, and he totally pulled it off, and I had a whole conversation with him about it, you know, and so that's what you want.
Yeah.
So, here's more. Don't eat garlic. Get the spinach out of your teeth. If you're a woman, get the lipstick off your teeth. These things are, you know, dandruff. You don't want dandruff, right?
Yeah.
Nothing too black if you're in LA, which is bizarre because I'm in New York and I wear black, but I couldn't get away with it in Los Angeles, I will tell you that. Although I did see the last time I was there was a lot more black than I had ever seen before.
I mean, being here now, I see folks wearing black, but at the same time, usually it's on the colder days. If it's hot, not going to happen. But I
Yeah.
actually, I grew up near New York, so I used to wear a lot of black. And then I came here and I had like all black T-shirts, and I was dying last summer because it was so hot. And I'm wearing just this black shirt.
Black, that's true.
So out of
It's
necessity and comfort, I had to buy different colored shirts just because I was like frying to death every time I went outside.
You know, by contrast in New York, there are people I know who wear nothing but black. I mean, they will wear black
Oh,
from head to toe every day. And so it's a different sensibility, but in Los Angeles, they tend to like really bright colors.
yeah.
Not too pastel is all right too, but really bright colors and just fun. You know, it's a fun place.
And it depends on the person's style as well, too. You know, like within your own style,
Yeah.
what colors work for you and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Also, sandals are all right. If you're going to wear shorts, wear sandals. Don't, unless you're going to be running.
Like hiking or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm so proud. I wrote this. I said, sandals are all right, but make sure your toes don't look like something out of an alien movie.
Yeah. Clip your toenails. That's important.
We really sunk this low?
I have some friends who don't, and it's and they know too. We joke about it all the time, but it's
It's not. You will not. Seriously, it's all right if you're with your pals, but that's a deal breaker. I'm serious. People who are in a position of power, they notice these things, even if they look like they're hip and they're cool. Because part of what I'm about to tell you is that people, while you're meeting them, they won't necessarily react right away, like they didn't like something you did, but they just won't call you back.
I mean, think about switch the roles here. Think about it from your perspective. You meet somebody, they're kind of cool, and there's like that one weird thing, like I liked her a lot. She was really cool, but like, what was with that like toe thing?
Oh, you hear it?
It's like
yeah.
Like, you don't want to have that lingering thought. Like, try to eliminate any of those kind of weird lingering thoughts. Like,
yes, your big toe.
Like, what's with that one thing? Like, that was kind of weird. Like, they were cool, but like that was weird. Like, you don't want that. You don't want people thinking that about you.
You just don't want that. Also, if you happen to dye your hair, whether you're a man or a woman, don't let your roots show unless that's the style that you want, and that's different. But, just keep it together. All right, now I'm going to talk about other things that are pretty basic for Americans, but this is for our friends abroad, okay? Here are some deal breakers in case you don't know. Americans are absolutely, pathologically, wildly crazy about being clean, right?
Most of us shower every day, usually once a day, sometimes twice a day, or 3 times a day. I know some people.
Yes, and I think that's crazy. But
yeah, I mean, if I'm going out somewhere and I didn't shower, I'm thinking the whole time, man, I really should have showered before I went out. Like.
See, so
unless I'm working out or like hiking or something, that's different. But like,
that's different. No, that's different. But I'm talking about business, So like.
Oh yeah, if I'm a meeting, I've absolutely showered that day.
Or if you go to a session, you're going to a recording session. Anyway, use deodorant. You want to avoid. Here's some American lingo. You want to avoid some BO. That stands for what's
body odor.
Body odor. Body odor, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to avoid that.
And what it also means is that you want your clothes to be clean, because sometimes you're clean, but if your clothes are not clean and you didn't wash them, then they start to smell. And I promise you, I'm serious, I'm not kidding you, they still talk about Bernard Herrmann and how he didn't properly bathe. You do not want this reputation.
You definitely don't. Especially in LA where it gets so hot. And you can really smell it when somebody hasn't, showered or something like that. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah,
That's not.
just
don't go
don't
down that road.
The other one is obvious bad breath, and I'm going to also talk about dental hygiene in a minute, but, just bad breath, just, walk around with the gum and, mints and whatever you can do, and go to the dentist if it's a problem, because there are things that they can do to fix that. So, conversely, too much perfume is a huge problem. A lot of people are allergic. So, don't, if you're a woman or if even men, just...
You're wearing cologne or something like that, which
cologne,
I never do personally. I don't know. I always feel weird wearing cologne. That's just me, though, I guess.
It's a personal preference, certainly.
Yeah.
But as a composer, you're working in a close proximity with people in a control room environment, or if you're dealing with a director or you're meeting with someone. I mean, an artistic collaboration is an intimate one. So whether you want to or not, you're going to be spending time close to each other. So you want to make sure pretty much all of that, the nose stuff is taken care of. And, teeth. Here we go. Americans are crazy about their teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Most of us have thousands of dollars invested in the state of our dental care. So
myself and my friends growing up, we all had braces to make sure we had straight teeth when we were adults.
I had them for 4 years, and I think there are photos left from those 4 years, and I hope nobody digs them up, because it wasn't just the teeth. Anyway. So if your teeth are crooked, I'm serious about this, and I hate to say this, but if your teeth are crooked, that might have to be something that you would have to contend with. Nowadays, the technology is much better so that you don't have to walk around. There are things that you can do where people don't even realize that they're getting straightened. And it's also better for your gum health. When your teeth are straight, it turns out, and that in turn turns out to be great for your heart health. So, believe it or not, because anyway, I don't want to sound like a medical doctor here, but just brush your teeth often, whiten them. If you have straight teeth, beautiful teeth, but they're yellow, this is a problem as well. There are things that you can do. You can go to the drugstore and get some whitening strips. I'm talking to people who are basically not in the U.S. right now.
Gotcha.
Floss, that's the other thing you could have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm brushing my teeth twice a day, and then, flossing once or twice a day if I have time.
Yeah,
mouthwash, the whole thing.
It basically boils down to, if you don't care for yourself in this way, then they wonder if you're not going to care for the work that you do for them. I mean, that's a stretch, but there's a reality.
Yeah.
Let's see. There are other things, but let me just look. Anyway, you talk amongst yourself there.
We're right now in the comments. We're talking about cologne. Talking about how a good cologne. Connor said that a good cologne applied conservatively works very nicely, like for a date or something like that.
Well, for a date is different. That's different.
Very different.
We're talking about you dealing with a director, So that means if you're dealing with a woman director, you have to treat that like a business thing and not a date. Don't be muddying that up. That's like no good. Okay, keep it clean.
Yeah, you don't want to mix work and play. You definitely don't want to be doing that.
No. Okay. So, all right. So what's worse? How's this for a jump? What's worse than being not clean and having your teeth all messed up? Well, this is the biggest deal breaker in the U.S. that we have, and that is racism.
Oh, yeah.
Someone has to tell you this. I'm sorry, and I apologize if this is patronizing to anybody, but I have to tell you this. You must be what's called PC, as opposed to BO. PC means you have to be politically correct. Politically correct means that you can't have any... There's zero. I don't even want to say no
tolerance. Yeah.
Zero tolerance for racism, for anything that's anti-Semitic, anything that's against any religion, anything that's against women, sexism. Don't when you're like pals, you're becoming pals with the director. Don't talk about some chick walking down the street. It's not going to work. You're going to lose the gig. Literally, that's how serious it is. I shouldn't have to tell you this, but this is a reality that someone has to tell you. And
It's very, yeah.
And converse, and also, like, if you happen to have a T-shirt with writing on it, make sure that the writing is like not anything that anybody's going to be offended by. And it's probably a good idea if you don't know the person who you're trying to create an alliance with. It's a good idea to just not wear anything with writing on it. You just don't know. Okay, we got through that one.
Yeah.
Okay, more deal breakers. This is along the lines of cleanliness. Don't show up sick to anything. I mean, and this is probably a completely different sensibility than in other cultures. And actually in New York, it's a little bit more tolerated if you show up to school sick, let's say if you're a kid. But in Los Angeles and Hollywood, it is absolutely, it's so bad because people work really, really hard and everything is tied to a deadline. So if you're spreading some special kind of germ or virus or something,
Yeah, I don't want to be doing that.
you're literally
the whole crew sick. You could like.
You're literally facilitating, whoever you're in contact with to lose money, and it is that important. And
Recipe for disaster.
That is a deal breaker. I mean, that could just end your career right there. So what that means is that, yes, wash your hands frequently, keep clean, and try and get a flu shot, and try to just stay home.
Especially in California too, because the culture here can be so health conscious sometimes.
Yes.
Healthy food in general is important, but just being healthy. I mean, like everyone here works out. Everyone here eats healthy. If you're not doing those things, it's like strange almost, Like I started working out more when I moved here because I was like, it felt weird. I was like, oh, everyone else is doing it, so I'll do it too. Like it just felt weird not doing it.
Yeah, and yes, there is a strong pull to conform, but it's all based on the idea that you are trying to build up a business.
Yeah.
Basically.
We have a question from Iron Chef Mark asking about just some topics to avoid in conversation. I guess he's asking about like politics.
Yeah, I actually have that somewhere. This is a very chaotic lecture I'm doing, but I'm going to get through everything. But yes,
sure.
You don't want to really talk about politics. You don't. Well, let me find it here. I apologize. I don't know. It's somewhere. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I mean, we all have our own political views. We all have our own personal views on things. I make a point usually not to discuss them with anybody. Regardless of if someone in business or somebody I'm friends with or anything at all. Yeah. Just because I feel like, to me, I think it's personal. I think it's a personal thing that everybody has their own way of looking at something, their own way of believing something that they may think is very right, but at the same time, it's like this isn't. It's not the time or the place to.
You make a really good point because, even if you and this director or whoever you're going to be doing business with is you and that person have exactly the same political views, on principle you want to maintain the stance of potentially let's agree to disagree. Because that is the attitude that you need to have when you're having a creative collaboration with somebody. So you need to be able to. It's kind of bad, actually. I don't know. It's a weird thing because there has to be room for being able to make disagreements and make that okay.
And you won't agree on everything ever. I've never met anybody ever who I've completely unanimously agreed with every single.
But see this is interesting, Steve, because that point of view that you have is completely American. In other societies that are more homogenous, there is the expectation that it's assumed that you would agree. Oh, you're one of us, therefore you agree on all, like at least half
everything across the board. Yeah.
A B C D E F G H I J K.
Yeah.
And
yeah. It's like, whoa, no. Like, I do not think that about about that group of people.
But I did find this section that I wanted to talk about, which was that Hollywood is exceedingly liberal, but it's just best not to talk about religion or politics unless you get a feel for it. Kind of. because those are factions, and what that means is that that's potentially divisive. In other words, you could find yourself in an us or them situation, and the best way to make business is to keep all your doors open. So, for example, if you're in I don't know, somewhere in the Midwest in the U.S., there's no reason why you can't be working with people who might have more conservative views than you do. It should be okay for you to do that in an ideal setting. So, and I also, along those lines, I also want to say, watch your swearing. Don't assume that the people who you're talking to, they might be the same age you are, they might look exactly the same way, but they might not be, and people are funny about that. So always, especially as the composer, right, the other person is going to be hiring you. So it's always good to follow their lead as far as swearing goes and kind of be, on the lookout for that. I actually have a little anecdote that just amazes me. I'm sitting at a table right now, right? And what is supposed to be rude, that's sitting at a table with your elbows on the table.
Yeah.
So, what's the rule of thumb if you're the host of you're royalty, you're upper class, and you're hosting a dinner, and then someone puts their elbow on the table? What do they do? What do they do?
What's up?
What do they do? So you're at so let me start that again. I'm sorry.
Okay, I think you cut out a little bit. Yeah.
I'm not particularly articulate, but let's try it again. So
okay.
You are royalty in Britain, in the UK, and you are hosting a dinner. And your guest, your rude American, comes in and puts their elbows on the table. What are you supposed to do?
Scold them.
That's wrong.
Tell them it's improper. What?
No, the proper way actually is actually quite amazing. Then you are to put your elbows on the table too.
Really?
So you make them feel comfortable.
Interesting. I thought with that. Okay, I learned something.
I mean, that's the story I heard. I like the story. I don't know if it's real, but that's what I heard. And
my elbows probably would have already been up on the table anyway, probably. So that's fun. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
I'm bad with the elbows on the table thing.
Shows much I know about British culture.
I mean, it's surprising, but it's a great explanation of how to really behave. Just match up with whoever is there. Is my point. And chances are there's even this whole thing. There's people who study body language, and they've discovered that if you follow the physical gestures of who you're speaking with, and you mimic them, something like 4 or 5 seconds later, so it's like a little bit later where they don't realize. So I go like this. Yeah. And 4 or 5 seconds later, you go, and I go, wow, Steve, I think you're the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. All of a sudden, yeah.
No, they've determined you can really win people over that way if you just slightly, subtly mimic their, But see, that'll just
I've heard also with people that you like, you'll subconsciously do that, actually. You'll subconsciously mimic them without even knowing it.
Yeah. That's
great.
You're
start to match them without even knowing it. We have a question from Nathaniel. He's asking, so if you're legitimately contagious and you have a session, but you have to, and you can't attend a session, what should you do?
Well, drug yourself up and try to lie as much as possible. Don't touch anything. Carry your own. I'm serious. Carry your own mug of coffee. Don't touch anything. Don't let anybody touch. And people will stay away from you.
Oh yeah.
I have had. I couldn't believe it, but they're when you're talking about billionaires, they won't shake your hand, and that's crooked, I think. But there's a reality there,
Yeah.
So if you're really sick with a fever, just take as many meds as you can, and freshen up, wash your face, do whatever you can, and just tell everybody stay away and then do what you need to do and don't touch anything and then get out. I'm serious. It's like that. And apologize. Because they don't see it as, oh, it's just a germ. They will see it as, oh, that's a bad, that I'm looking at 4 days of lost work. It's literally what they say. That's what I say when I see that. Maybe I'm crazy. But that's, when I see someone sick and they come here, I'm like, in the universities, for example, they require the teachers now to have flu shots. And whatever.
I knew that. I mean, I remember when I was teaching for a little while, I was required to have some vaccinations and that kind of stuff, not a flu shot. It was more just a standard,
Yeah, and also now they have the standalone, what do you call those, disinfectant things? The gels.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah.
Everywhere, and it does stop the germ. It does. So, all right. So here's some more stuff. Don't find fault with people, even if they're at fault. I love that. So even though you're right, just don't find fault with people. Don't be pointing fingers, and also don't apologize too much. Hold your ground.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I don't know how it is in Eastern Europe where they do a lot of the recordings or elsewhere, but in the U.S., in an orchestra, even if you happen to know who's playing out of tune, you can't look at them in the eye and say, oh, you just played that out of tune, play that again correctly, or you made a mistake, or yeah,
you can't be calling people out.
You can't call people. That's the right phrase. Can't call people out. Don't call people out. It's about being polite. And what you can do, what I've heard people do, the conductor will all of a sudden go, listen up. Let's play that again and listen up. And usually that's for a professional orchestra. That usually means, okay, and if they still don't get it, then you say, can we just have these measures in this section? And then, and if not, then, can we have just this measure and the clarinets? But, and then
you very slowly pare it down. You give that person a lot of chances to save their own.
And then they go like one at a time, like one beat at a time.
Yeah.
Or the other signal is, not, and notice you're never saying, we're out of tune. You're just saying, let's listen up. And then the other thing is when you tell them, can we have an A or a La, right, 440? Can we have an A, please? And then the oboist will play the A and everybody will tune up. That is the lingo for, uh-oh, someone's off.
Yeah.
And it's really their responsibility to say, and it makes it for a better, it's polite. Yes, it is a little bit more expensive, but they play better. When the people start feeling like they're being attacked, then you're
gonna get a lot of not great recordings, definitely.
Yeah.
You can hear the stress when they get stressed out and they're out playing.
Yeah. So, just have a good time doing what you need to do. More stuff. Don't speak highly of yourself. That's a cultural difference.
Yeah.
I know people who feel perfectly fine in their own environment to say, oh, I was the best ever and it was the greatest ever, and you can't do that in the U.S. It's not okay.
Yeah, it's interesting here. Like humility is very important in the United States, at least around the circles that I'm in. If anybody's talking to themselves, I mean, like when someone does have like something like good to say about themselves, it's usually it's usually a lot of, okay, listen, I'm not trying to brag or anything like that, but and then even so. It'll still come off as bragging. People are always
that's true. Or they'll say,
arrogant,
hey, my show really is doing very well. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And that's a
it's
little,
like,
and that's
even
okay.
That feels kind of like.
But you have no idea. Like people in other cultures, like they'll say, like, I'm the best ever.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's such a difference from here. It's so different.
It's just a difference. So, okay, I'm gonna just.
Because here people will be like, all right, that person's kind of
Yeah. So here's some interesting things. Like, let's say you're in a session or you're gonna meet somebody, and don't come in with a hot cup of coffee unless you have a cup of coffee for them too. Anything that's like yummy food, hot food that smells. My own personal pick, my pet peeve is, don't eat an orange in front of people. Do you know what that does to your mouth? You just want to eat 1, 2. And So but see, these are opportunities. So what? You've never eaten? Have you ever had anybody eat an orange in front of you? Are you confounded?
It hasn't really bothered me before. It's just kind of.
Well, let me tell you. Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure what. I'm not sure. I mean,
Maybe
I just kind of see that person's eating an orange, and I move on.
I wonder what the comments are going to be. Anyway, look, if you eat it,
I'm pretty laid back, though. It's pretty hard to get under my skin. So.
It might be like the citrus oils or something. I don't know. It's like, anyway. If you're at a session, don't crinkle any paper, no plastic. Don't jangle your jewelry, rattling around like these things. You don't hear it after a while, but like everybody does,
Don't be that guy with the bag of chips that opens them very slowly and awkwardly.
Yeah. If you smoke.
It's like you're in the movies and.
Yeah, go on. Oh, popcorn, right?
Oh, I was.
Wait,
yeah,
what?
No, we were lagging. I was saying if you're in the movies or something like that, and like there's always like, all right, I think I'm back. Maybe there's like that one really like tender, quiet scene, and then there's that one person that opens a soda. It's just like, I love you. Like.
That kind of insensitive.
It's always like that one. Just like really all of it. It's like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that brash insensitivity. It's really funny, but if you're the one in the session, it's really frustrating.
What if you're texting in a film? You got your iPhone and you're like texting. Oh God! And then a concert. Oh,
so
anyway.
There's a theater in Hollywood called the ArcLight, and the ushers enforce it. If your phone is out, they take your phone from you. It is. I was so happy. Oh my God! It's like my biggest pet peeve ever is people texting in movies.
People have been killed over that.
It drives me nuts.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's move on a little bit and talk about, and then maybe we'll come back.
Yeah.
Because this is very convoluted.
Sure, of course.
But at least it's out there for you guys to consider. If you smoke and you think that you don't have this, and you go, of course, you go out to smoke and then you come back and you think you don't smell the smoke, let me tell you, you do. And it's a problem. And in the U.S. in particular, just about everywhere is not okay for smoking. For example, believe it or not, Central Park. You're not allowed to smoke in all of Central Park. And
a lot of restaurants, yeah.
Yeah, restaurants, no bars, you can't smoke anywhere. And just beware that when you come back in to sit down, you will have this cloud of smoke that you don't even realize. So it is a problem. A lot of people who smoke, who live abroad, when they come to the U.S., they eventually give up and stop smoking because you can't smoke anywhere.
It's changed too over the years. I mean, like it used to be a lot more open, but over the past like 10 years or so, it's really people have really cracked down on it. It's become a lot more inconvenient to be a smoker in the U.S. I guess.
It's ironic because there's not a lot of cigarette smoking now. It's okay to smoke more and more, and I want to talk to people about that as well. Beware, you don't smell the stuff, but even if you've got it in your bag, in your purse, in a Ziploc bag, however you go, people.
It is a very, very distinctive smell.
It smells, and that could be a deal breaker. I mean, do not assume that is just a subculture. I personally.
I mean, a lot of people in California smoke marijuana, but it doesn't mean everybody smokes marijuana. So you have to be careful about that. If you do, you have to be.
Business, and here's the other thing. It's not cool to be driving, and it's not good. So.
Oh yeah, no, God.
No. Boy, these notes, I get a B- today for notes because they're so all over the place. Okay, I'm just gonna go straight down. How to behave. Don't lie. Don't cheat. Don't steal. Don't have a rant. You know what a rant is? Don't be angry. Don't have a temper tantrum. Not even a small temper tantrum.
Nothing on Facebook about that. Like, even if it's like frustration about software you're working with. Like, I hate Logic Pro. Oh my God. Like, even that makes you, because it makes you look like, okay, this guy has no idea how to use Logic Pro. Okay, like it just.
The further you move out from LA, the more tolerable all of this stuff is. But it's not good. It's not good, especially lying in Los Angeles. Forget it. No.
No.
Go back. Go back to.
The quickest way to lose a gig is lie about
No,
I've had people lie to me before, and I mean it's just that's it. They're done. They're cut off.
You might think it's okay to steal like like a handful of packets of sugar at Starbucks. People notice that.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah. Even though it might be all right by Starbucks.
Yeah.
Don't talk. We've talked about this before. Don't talk behind someone's back. Don't talk only about yourself. Don't drop the ball. Don't lose your temper.
Yeah.
Or even give a hint that you could lose your temper.
You want to come off as just cool, calm, collected. You're in control. You know what's going on.
Fun. You're fine. You're confident. You know exactly what you're doing. It's not even an issue. You know you can deliver. And so, what's the problem? Why do I need to like bash someone else? Why do I need to talk behind? You know. Here's some pluses. Huge pluses in your manners. If you surprise people with fun gifts. So if you're, coming to a session, come in 2 dozen bagels. It'll cost you $30 maybe, depending on where you're going, but you'll make everybody happy.
It'll make you look awesome.
They will remember you. It's like the easiest thing in the world. When going out with someone who's important, especially if they've taken the time to meet you and they're the executive, pay their bill, right? Just jump in there and just be nice to them. Empathize.
I always, whenever I'm hanging out.
Yeah, go.
Oh, I was saying, sorry, our connection's kind of wonky, I think. What I was saying was, whenever I'm hanging out with friends or anything at all, I mean, if I'm going to someone's house or something, I always make a point to never show up empty-handed. I'm like, if it's like a barbecue or like they're having me over dinner, I'm bringing them over a bottle of wine. I'm bringing over a 6-pack of an interesting, good beer, not Bud Light, like
even if
some
it's
kind
like
of cool microbrew, some kind of interesting,
Or even if you show up with a magazine, just don't show up empty-handed. Hi, free food. Just go.
Magazine.
I'm serious. Someone give me a. I'm serious. They're
Funny.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
Empathize with the person who you're speaking to. So put yourself in their shoes. So when you're talking to them, imagine what they're feeling. These things are huge. People notice these things. Be polite, kind, truthful. Oh, and here's a good one. Be gracious. Say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean, thank you up and down, left and right and sideways. Never stop saying thank you. I think, Steve, you were the one who taught me that, you make a habit of saying thank you in every email.
Like, when in doubt, I thank someone. It's just, it's what you got. I mean, you can never go wrong with it. It's like,
you can never go wrong. And
have you ever heard of anybody being overly grateful for something? Like, you don't hear that.
I mean, why do I write these notes? I worry about myself sometimes. Be pleasant at all times. A sense of humor goes a long way. Be gracious and grateful. Be comfortable accepting compliments. I'm not so good with that one. No.
The compliments. Yeah, I mean, don't talk them down. Don't be like, nah. I mean, like,
Yeah. I'll say.
No,
seriously, that's a good point. Seriously. As a composer, if someone says, oh, I really, really adore that music, let's say the director says, I adore that music, you must stand proud and tall and say thank you. That's part of your job. If you go, oh, it was nothing, I woke up at 2 in the morning and I wrote it, it just came
They don't need to know that.
Just no, because that weakens your stance and people don't know any better. So you're literally teaching people how to behave.
Just tell them thanks so much. I'm so happy you like it. Something like that. I mean, that's.
Yeah, you can practice too. Actually, you could practice. I should make notes. Thank you.
Practice being graceful.
Thank you. Yeah.
We have another question. About this is about lying. This is from Nathaniel again. He said, "What are people lying about? Stuff like abilities, contacts."
Anything, and you don't have to lie. You don't have to be.
What are people lying about?
Oh, what are people lying about? Well, they're habitual liars who lie about everything.
Yeah.
And here's the interesting thing that I've discovered because, it's a discipline on my part. I don't lie. And what I've discovered is when you don't lie, you can start to smell lies or feel or sense them. It's like, I don't eat meat. It's a personal decision, but when people will say, "Oh, that tomato sauce doesn't have any, bouillon or anything," and I can actually taste it. And it's the same thing. If you haven't lied for a long time, and then you can tell when people are lying at you. Of course, it's just sensing it. But what was the question?
Yeah.
What was the question? What did Nathaniel say?
Just what are people lying about?
What are they lying? They lie about.
What are people like? What are people lying about? Contacts, abilities, that kind of stuff.
So, for example, I'll just give you an example. I wrote one big, substantial, and important 2-minute cue for Pokemon the first movie. Okay, that was years ago, but I did it, and it was a big cue, and it was an orchestral cue. Now, I could say that I wrote the music for Pokemon the first movie, but I say instead that I wrote a cue or cues for Pokemon the first movie. That's stretching the truth a little bit, and it's to your advantage. I mean, I could say, yes, I orchestrated for Interview with the Vampire, but the truth is that I was the assistant orchestrator for Interview with the Vampire. Now, I don't want to necessarily say that, but what I say instead, if you look at my bio, it says I orchestrated cues for Interview with the Vampire. And that's the truth, and then that's to my advantage, but instead of saying, oh, she orchestrated, Interview with it. So those are tiny things that
it matters, though.
Not going to make a difference.
I think it's important to be specific, though. If you have something I think it's important to say, though, if someone's asking about a point blank, you got to tell them, I didn't score this. I did additional music for it. I mean, like that kind of stuff matters.
People will introduce me, and they'll say, "Oh, she wrote she orchestrated for Interview with the Vampire, or she wrote, commercials for the Super Bowl." And I'll have to make certain distinctions about that.
Of course, yeah. You don't want to lead people the wrong way and let them kind of assume. Like if they assume you scored this whole film.
We'll talk about this next time for the next webinar on the inside, because it's very important to keep your soul.
There's more inside stuff.
It's like, because look, who I appear to be is who I am, and that is by design. And otherwise, you're not going to trust what I say, and then I won't be able to help you. Yeah. And you wouldn't care about me talking for hours and hours. All right, so getting on to other things. You want to learn how to introduce yourself. I had mentioned this in the first webinar. You want to learn how to break into and out of a conversation. That's kind of tricky. But if you go to more parties and more venues where you're meeting people, then you will get better at it. It's important to keep the conversation going. Don't freak out if the conversation kind of stops, but doing things that are.
I have some tips as well.
You do? Go.
Yeah. So if you're at a party and you're talking to someone, what you don't want to do is try to find the most important person in the room while you're, especially when, like in general, especially when you're talking to one person and you're looking over their shoulder the whole time. Trying to be like, I really want to talk to that person over there. I
do this. I'm talking to you, Stephen. I'm like, it's so bad. It's so bad.
I mean, I've had it done to me before, and I'm like, okay.
No.
I can say anything right now, and you won't care about what I'm saying.
People kind of look at where I'm looking. Yeah. So bad. It's so
like,
so good. It's such a good point.
You got to avoid that, definitely.
I want to say is that you want to have a list of buzzwords, or there's this thing called dropping names, where if you're like working.
Yeah.
With somebody, and so you happen to say Steven Spielberg. Those words, those phrases have a lot of power. It's not good for you to use them on just anybody, but if you are meeting the contact of the night, you finally get to them. It's important to be able to say, oh yeah, and to have your rap, to have your spiel. It's so.
And you're ready to go. Yeah. Yeah, your story ready. Yeah.
The genre.
We want to avoid. I was going to say, avoid just name dropping blatantly, though, because I mean, a lot of people will be People will be insulted by that. They'll, you know.
In the old days, and this is so interesting. The whole phenomena of rap. Well, rap is something else as a musical language.
Yeah.
But it's called rap because it's from rapture. And back in the old days, it was very important for guys to, in particular, to figure out how they were going to chat up a woman or a girl.
Yeah.
So they had to get their rap together, and they had to. And I remember hearing about this, about guys going, "Well, what's your rap? And what's your?" So it's kind of like that. Like, so okay, here you finally have the chance to, you know, you got your chance. You're standing across from an Oscar-winning producer. What are you going to say? What's your rap? How are you going to say it? So you need to prepare that, and you need to do some homework. And even if it means that you're dropping names, but that you're doing it in a very smooth way, and that's very important to do. All right.
In a very eloquent way, definitely. I think it's really important.
Let me try to tear through some of this other stuff. You need to be prompt. That goes without saying, but I mean super duper prompt. Like, just be very punctual. Don't ever be late. It's such a tricky thing if you're late, because if you apologize, then you're heightening your tardiness. But if you don't acknowledge it, then it's worse, and so you're in a pickle already. So just show up early as much as you can. I
was told something a while ago by like a teacher, I think, and he said that if you're early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late. So always make a point to get there early, I'd say.
Well, I mean, if you want true confessions here, when I used to teach at NYU all those years, I would actually take notes in like a school marm and, you know, say +1. +2 for anybody who was late. They'd have to text me to say that they were going to be late, and that would be all right. But if they were late without letting me know, and I can't remember what that number was, but at the end of the semester, if that number was over however long, I would actually drop them a letter grade. Yeah, it's that important.
No, it is. It definitely is.
You will lose the job. You will. Yeah. It's the reality. Sorry, but yeah.
People will think you're flaky, unreliable, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and people got better at it. They really did. They started being on time, and they got a sense of it, and that's what I wanted for people. There is a little bit of terror, you know, in terms.
Oh yeah, I had a professor in college who would his lecture started at 9 in the morning, and at 9 in the morning he would close the door and lock it. And that was it. If you were late, you were screwed. You were done. You didn't get to that lecture because you were a minute late.
That's really bad.
Yeah, he'd like have his watch and be like, "All right, and it is now 9 o'clock," and he would just lock it. Like, okay, let's get started.
Fires or emergencies.
I was never late to that class. I was late once, and was like, "Okay, I just missed the lecture on impressionism that I really wanted to see." Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, some teachers are really like, you have to experience that in order to know. Like those things, it's perfectly okay for you to be 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
The thing is that for the people who are in a position of power who can make a huge difference in your life, it's not okay. All right. I want to talk about phone etiquette. If you have an important meeting, turn off your phone. That means don't even let it vibrate. No popping, ringing, beeping. My phone, I have an iPad, and like they're like Christmas trees, audible Christmas trees. Go like crazy, and they're silent and they're quiet now because I'm speaking with you, and it's the same thing. There is a game in town called Phone Stack. Phone Stack. And basically what it is that you show up to a restaurant and you're a bunch of people and you take your phones and you put them in the middle of the table and you stack them up into a nice big long tower, a phone stack, and whoever feels like they need to pick up their phone, they pick up the bill. It's just a game, but the point is that that's how important it is for you to pick and choose when you are responsive to that.
Absolutely. On the iPhone, I'm not sure about anyone else, but on the iPhone at least, there's the Do Not Disturb option, which you can kind of see there.
Yes, And you can also
And,
do the airport option too.
yeah.
What is it? Airline.
Airplane.
Airplane.
Airplane mode.
Airline.
Yeah.
Airport.
So what's,
Yeah. So that it's just done. You're done.
yeah.
Conversely, if you get a phone call, make a point of calling people straight away.
Absolutely.
The other thing is iPhones are important in Los Angeles. It might not be important elsewhere, but just think about it. I understand that it's expensive. I understand that the calling plans are expensive, but this is an expense for your business, and I would recommend that you think about that. It's
They come in colors too.
Oh yeah, you got the lime color, but and also you're reminding me you want to make it so that your iPhone cover isn't too skanky. Like keep it clean, nice.
And actually, a lot of folks here don't even have covers. Like, I mean, I have no cover on my phone at all. This is just the phone.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, a lot of folks don't even cover their iPhone here.
Yeah. Make sure that you walk around with a backup battery, or at least plug. That is absolutely not cool to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm running out of."
My phone died. Yeah.
Whether a lot of people who are in a culture where they're driving everywhere, they have it in their car already. Just plug the thing straight away.
Yeah.
I'm a pedestrian, being in New York, and I walk around with a backup battery. So, and I use it quite frequently, a lot more frequently than
And they have those they have special cases too. It's called like the juice pack or something like that, where it's like the battery built into the pack.
Yeah,
so it'll give like a full.
I don't know about the head, battery in your head, brain. I don't know.
I mean, I always use earbuds. I never talk on the phone by actually holding it up to my head. I'm always.
No. Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's some more stuff. Read the paper. Be up on the news.
Yeah, I'm still afraid of like learning what's going to happen to people in like 60 years from that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I read the paper and that's.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm saying be up on the news, read the paper, and now I'm saying, that's how I know about the battery being up on your head.
Oh, yeah.
Up about it. Anyway, be up on the art scene, and here's a good one. I love this. You might never need to know this, but this is really cool. Know your local orchestra. Know where it performs. Know who the name of your conductor is in your local orchestra. You might even want to know who the concert master is. These things can be important. If you're a musician, you're a film composer, it's a good idea, and you happen to live in Cleveland, know who those conductors are. Know them. Shake someone's hand, but then again, I spoke about how some people who are very wealthy, they don't like to have their hand shaken.
You kind of play it by ear. I mean.
Yeah. Basically, you want your personality to shine through. You don't want anything unusual about you, your behavior, and your appearance to upstage or take away from who you are as a trustworthy, good soul. I want to talk about a few other things. We're still going. Business cards. You got to have a business card. I go to moo.com, MOO.com. They're very good. They're not exactly cheap. They started this new thing that's really interesting. It's called QR readers. Those are the squares, right, where you scan, and they can make it so that the information that you have on your business card directly goes into your phone, which is really cool. So those are called QR readers. Anyway, business cards are really kind of important. You might not give away a lot of them.
They are. I always keep 10 on me at all times in my wallet just in case. And also, for a designing card, if you have any friends who do graphic design or anything at all, call them. My brother's actually a graphic designer, and he designed my card. I mean, and it starts conversations all the time. I mean, but you just gotta really make sure that anybody you have at all you can pull from, you can ask for their help, and they can help you. But graphic designers are a powerful ally for composers.
I've had
designers work my website for me, my cards, everything.
Can I get your information? It's very bad when someone says, "Can I get your information?" And it's like, "Oh, you got a piece of paper? Let me write it down." Yes. And then I want to talk about two other things very quickly, and if people are interested, we could talk about more about them in the future, but I don't think so. One is your studio. You want to make sure that when you that you can bring people into your studio and make it a welcoming place, have toys, things that you love, make it a reflection of who you are, you know, have some coffee or tea available, have a bowl of nuts, M&Ms,
Yeah.
you know, munchies, things
Here
that
are some toys that I have. I mean,
go on, show them.
got like a little. I got some toys. I got like a Pokemon hanging out here that a friend gave me. I got a little
Yeah.
turtle, and I have this little swamp block from like
What's
Mario
the one I
Brothers.
got? Oh, that's a good one. I got Emmett
Yeah,
here.
right. Got
Yeah,
Emmett,
I got Emmett
the
here.
Lego guy.
Yeah, Lego
What else do I
Man.
have?
So, you know, these toys mean a lot.
Yeah.
And it's very welcoming, and it's fun, and it's okay. You know, anything that is colorful or can stimulate a conversation, that's what you want. You can have posters of your favorite movies, or posters of movies that you've worked on.
Or bands that you like.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Right?
Or like instruments, right? Things that like just think
Yeah.
about those things, because your room, your environment is a reflection of who you are. I would think twice before hanging awards or degrees. You know, do you have that hanging anywhere, like bachelor's degrees? Do you have it?
My bachelor's degree is in my parents' house somewhere in a desk drawer, I think.
My degrees are like up in the walls. Or is it? Yeah, they're
I think I don't think they threw it away. They might have, but I don't think they have.
Yeah,
I think it's in my room where I grew up.
but see, then again, I happen to know of a very successful gentleman whose studio is absolutely plastered with awards and degrees and, you know, keys to Miami, and, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
and he likes it that way, and he pulls it off, but you know, I would say it's all or nothing. Like if you've got, I don't know, it's one of those things. It's a person.
We have we got a question from Iron Chef Mark. And he's
Yes.
asking would you put your photo on your business card, like a photo of you, like your face?
If it's a good photo and you're looking
Yes.
at the camera, not playing. No, like not. Hello, woo. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I think people lost me. Did they lose me? Hello. Wow, this is the first.
I can hear you. We're catching up. We're catching up, I think.
That was something.
Yeah, he moves all fast and crazy and stuff, and then yeah.
It must be because it's Friday afternoon here and everybody's home going wild. But anyway, so what was I saying?
I think it's everybody watching Orange is the New Black on Netflix.
Yes,
That just
exactly.
came out.
Exactly. So, yes. So,
Which, by the way, it's really good. Everybody should watch that show. It's so good.
is it that good? I will then. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So make your studio
Oh, it's
welcome.
fantastic. You should totally watch it. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. So make your studio welcoming. Now, I also want to talk about hosting. Basically, the idea is that when you're able to invite someone over to your studio, or you're able to invite someone over to your home for dinner, or you're able to host a party, you are the person who's in control. And it even works on a smaller scale. So if you're at a party and you get someone a drink, you're in a position of control when you're offering them the drink. So those are things to really think about. It shows that you're the leader. If you're, even if you don't know how to cook that well, it doesn't take much to learn how to cook like a homemade pasta meal. You just buy all the ingredients at the store and you throw it in some boiling water, like practice doing it. But it's a great way to conduct a business meeting. I highly recommend it. Amazing things happen when you're able to offer someone a meal that's good, that you can cook. And the other thing is that, if you can afford it, think about your home. Think about what your home looks like. You ideally, you would love to have the kind of house that was like a party house that could.
It's good to have people over, yeah.
Yeah, to have people over, and don't get drunk at a party.
Oh, no, no, no. Don't,
Oh, that's a
you
deal.
don't want to be that guy in the corner drunk. You don't want to be that.
Don't eat too much of the food, even if the food is really good. You know, don't be parking yourself just like chomping down on everything.
Yeah.
If you're
You
hungry.
don't be the guy that eats the entire, that like houses the cheese plate alone. I've seen that happen at parties before, and that's not the person that everybody's
Say that
talking
again? You see what?
to.
You see what?
I've seen, I went to a party one time, and there was this guy that like, there was like a cheese platter. I swear to God, he ate every little cube off of that tray. He just stood there and just,
See, people notice that.
yeah.
Yeah, many years ago, someone accused me and a couple of other people to be a field of locusts. So, not a good idea.
Yeah,
Luckily, that
no.
had nothing to do with my business, but you know, it's pretty bad with, yeah, okay, my mistakes are to your advantage. Um, yes. So composing, I'm wrapping it up here. Yay. Composing music to picture is fun, but there's a lot about it that's not fun. Just be professional. Otherwise, you won't be getting the respect that you deserve. And, you know, just keep it together, folks. Hold it together. Keep it together. This is what it's all about. And as well, certainly today, as you barely talked about music. It's a disgrace. But this is the sort of world that we're dealing with. You know, you would think that just writing music that is really of high quality, you put your heart and your soul in it, you share it, and you have people listen to it, and you would think that that would open doors. I do not believe that it does. You have to be able to deliver things that are beyond that, that have to do with being thoughtful and kind and being caring and careful about how you present yourself. So I apologize once again for being patronizing. But this is the reality, so I hope you found some of it helpful. Are there
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, everybody, feel free to ask us questions. We
Yeah.
haven't any questions in a little while, but we have Connor brought up a pretty good point. For a morning meeting, he said I'm gonna totally butcher this. Chilaquiles, I think it's called. It's like fried corn tortillas sliced up, sautéed spinach, scrambled eggs, and salsa. It's easy to feed a lot of folks. I'm probably making that for dinner because it sounds delicious. How
Yeah,
good does that sound?
come over and oh, that sounds really good. Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds
Oh,
really
yeah. Like
good. You know, this is
sounds
the truth. So
amazing.
this is one of those things. Now we're just ad-libbing here, but it's very interesting. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Anyway, in Britain, they speak about the weather.
Yeah.
In Britain, how you doing? They speak about the weather. But in the U.S., people talk about food. You know,
Yeah.
so
Food is such a big deal here.
yeah. So if you're British and you go to L.A. or you come here and and you're talking about the weather, like nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh yeah, it's cold. And then
Yeah.
what did you have to eat last night? You know.
I mean, there's what's cool about at least LA, and I mean, a lot of other places like New York has this too, but like there's just so many cool restaurants with good food,
It's
and
amazing food.
a lot of it's cultural. I mean, and also I think it's another important thing is having like that dish that you can do really well that you can just whip out. Like
And that's
I grew up outside of Philadelphia. I can make cheesesteaks. I know how to make a Philadelphia cheesesteak the right way, the way that like the authentic way, with the right kind of rolls, the right kind of meat, the right technique
oh
for
my goodness, I
cooking.
can
Like
tell what's going to happen in
you know, like.
your
And my friends
start
been
calling your
hounding me for
friends.
months now to make them cheesesteaks. So like, we know you know how to make them. You got to make them for us. So I mean, that was my first job when I was 16. I was making
Amazing.
cheesesteaks. Like, you know, so, I mean, everybody like I'm sure everybody has some kind of dish. Because I mean, especially in Los Angeles, everyone here is usually not from here, so they
Yeah.
have some kind of unique dish from where they're from that they want to bring to the table.
Food is an amazing thing, especially, I mean, here I'm talking about appearances and all that, but if you are the source of great food, when there's that phrase about, what is it, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Your stomach, yep.
This is the truth actually in business too. And yeah, I know people who talk. I've heard epic conversations about caviar, and how we're going to get it and we're going to eat it and like months later they all meet and they have this caviar and it's like unbelievable over the top thing No, those things are fun. Those things are fun. So
Yeah.
just be careful, folks. I mean, honestly, what the whole reason for me doing this is that I want you to know as much as you can so that you can feel confident while you're approaching people. But also, it would be a shame for you to get so far to where you finally have a contact, you finally have their undivided attention, and you happen to say or do something that you had no idea was not okay to do.
Yeah, and that's what blows the deal. That's like the final straw.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
I really, I hope that you take all of this strange advice to heart and understand that it comes from the right place. And I just want it to be so that you don't have those troubles. And as far as I'm concerned, everything is easier than composing music. So this is pretty easy. You know, composing good music is the hard part. And and this.
We have another question. Not to cut you off, but we have another question from Connor.
Yes, Connor. Hi, Connor.
Connor's asking
has a middle name. Yes, he does, doesn't he? No, he had Christopher Connor. Yeah, okay.
Christopher Connor. Connor's asking, so what do you like about Moo.com for their business cards? Like, what stands out to you for them as opposed to anybody else?
You know, it's interesting. Their interface is kind of old now.
Yeah.
There are other services. That's great. What I love about them is that the cards are thick and
feels like a real card.
It's a real card. It's not like Vistaprint or whatever. It's like
quality paper, you know.
I wish I had some here, you know.
I mean,
you do. Yeah, can you show them like it's like just a?
Yeah, it's very like. Can you hear that? Like kind of like.
Yeah, and it's
sound kind of, you know.
Yeah, like don't use business cards that say, "Oh, this was provided by Vistaprint," and then it's free, and so or don't print them out yourself. I used to do that. Those are just, they're not, this is your one, you very rarely have a chance to make a positive impression on people who don't know you. And so, I mean, my card, I give it to, and every single time they go, whoa. And that's what you want, you know?
Like, you want a nice feeling card. I mean, it shows a lot, it also shows that you're willing to invest in yourself and that you believe in what you're doing. And I mean, there's a lot of that too. I mean,
it's expensive. I'll give you that. It's expensive.
But don't skimp on it. I mean, like that kind of stuff's important. That kind of stuff matters.
I think it's like 50 cents a card or something. Like it can.
Something like that. I don't know. I mean, I usually buy them in bulk and then just kind of.
Yeah. See, I stopped doing that because my information always changes a little.
Oh
bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Like.
Mine hasn't so far, so hopefully it stays the same.
Well, with my new card, I have the tweeting in, and I have the blog out. And,
yeah, that's true.
Like switching it up a little bit, and it's also interesting because now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't even put my phone number on there. Like people feel like they should put their mailing address and all of that, and unless you have an office,
I would never put my personal address on there. Like you don't know who's going to pick that card up and find it, and then find you. They
can find it online if they wanted to, but it's
true.
It's less is always more. Less is always better. Like I'd rather see a nice photo on the back of the card, like you have that design.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And then all this information. It's good to be a little mystical. Just so long as they have some way to reach you. I mean, if they really want to reach you, then they can.
But you can entice them, though, which is good.
Yeah, entice them. And also, like, don't say, like, composer, arranger, orchestrator, instructor.
Yeah. Mine just says, like, I'm not sure if you can read that or not. Yeah, it just says music for film.
Wait. Show it. Yeah, music for film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It does. Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Figure it out. Like my card doesn't even say like this this thing. Film music consultant or instructor or whatever I am. What am I?
I mean, also like, it depends too. With like work, like the way we work, it's like I'm a composer, and other times I'm an orchestrator, or I'm a score technician, or I'm
film, right?
Yeah. It's all music. Exactly. It's a very just good umbrella term, and I'm scoring a video game pretty soon. That's not a film; it's a video. But it's all kinds of stuff like that.
Let's face it. You're going to say someone would say, "Well, I need to have all of those gigs." Well, you want to be primarily known as a film composer.
Yeah.
So,
And people can kind of connect the dots too with it as well. They'll kind of like, okay, he does film, so he probably can do this too. Like,
or
they
you
can connect the
just
dots
say
for you.
it. You just tell them verbally, hey, I can do this too.
Yeah, like I do whatever I do, that
This,
kind of stuff as well.
right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Are we going to go? Any other questions?
I think there's no other questions right now, at least. I mean,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for
yeah.
stopping by here.
Absolutely.
If
Thanks,
you're
everyone.
interested in working with me on one-on-one, please drop me a line. You can just find me at denizhughes.com, or you can go to my contact page on my website. I love hearing from you. Just tell me what tell me all about you. I love hearing these stories. We're all in this together. If there's one thing that I hope that everybody understands is that you're not alone in your pursuit of film music. It might feel like it's a mysterious, strange experience, but so many people adore this line of work, and
there's a great community for it as well.
There's a great community, and you can get there. You can get there from where you are. It's perfectly fine. I'm here at your service, and thank you, Steve. You're great. You see, it's just the two of us. We don't need
having a good time. Well,
Honolulu.
I'm jealous. I wish I was there. But well, thank you, Deniz, for having me on, for doing the webinar. It's been a blast. I mean, it's always fun. I love doing these things. They're really fun, you know?
It's really fun. It's just wonderful. So we'll have another one soon, and that'll be a more mystical, spiritual experience. This one was rather painful for me. I don't like having the role of school marm. Like, don't do this, don't do that. Brush your teeth, floss your teeth. God, I'm glad to get that out of the way. All right.
Yeah, right? All right, that's done. Next.
Next.
Next. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And please, folks, I hope to see you. Please join For Film Composers only on Facebook. It's a great group. It's really a lot of fun. I have a great deal of fun with it. Okay, here.
Absolutely.
See you later.
Right.
See you.
Thanks, everybody.
Everybody. Bye.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, great weekend. Bye.